So we got the 12-5 Detroit Lions versus the 12-5 San Francisco 49ers. That's a 6:30 game. And currently, I believe we have the line. I'm trying to see what the San Francisco is a 7-point favorite. The over/under's 50.5 in this game.
Okay,
that's going to be a high-scoring affair if that's what they have. So,
look, that's going to be an interesting game. If Detroit is able to go in to Santa Clara, beat the Niners, that will be as impressive a thing as we have seen in these playoffs. The Niners not only are a really good team, but they are a very well-rounded team. And it's difficult. It's just difficult to play them because they stress you at every point. Detroit can make plays, but if you really break them down, they have one really good receiver, obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have a good tight end, and they have a solid quarterback. Most positions, though, like, again, if you look at just the sheer number of all pros that are on the Niners, it's
ridiculous.
Scary. It's crazy. It's
an
Brandon
all-pro
Ayuk
team.
and Kyle Juszczyk and Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle. It's like the all Madden team that they used to have. That's like practically what the Niners are. They did not play their best game last week by any stretch.
No.
That would have been a game that Detroit could have won. If the Niners play like they just played, then Detroit could win that game. But I don't think the Niners are going to play back-to-back games like that. I think that's the difficult part.
Yeah. And you failed to mention the running backs for Detroit, which are very good. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Kind of a two-headed monster there. A lot of people probably feel like Jahmyr should be getting a lot more carries.
Yeah.
But then you can offset that with Christian McCaffrey. So it's, would you take McCaffrey over those two? Yeah, probably. For me, it comes down to Brock Purdy and it comes down to Jared Goff, which really put up very similar numbers this year. Goff had a little over almost 4,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, 12 picks. Purdy was almost at 4,300 yards, 31 touchdowns, 11 picks. You can't get much closer than that. So then it's going to turn to who, and I would probably at this point take Amon-Ra over Ayuk. However, I wouldn't take Amon-Ra over Ayuk and Debo if Debo's healthy. So Debo could play a huge factor in this. But again, as I said, Gerard Johnson's coming up and he's really taken a lot. Kittle has played a lot better these past, he was, injured, I guess, a decent amount. Yeah. And they just didn't feel like they were getting him involved. But, he's getting involved a lot more. However, Sam Laporta for Detroit is man, he's what you would want in a tight end. Although he did say he hoped to fashion his game after Aaron Hernandez, which was a very odd statement. I don't understand it. I hope no one asked him follow-up questions and just left it alone and be like, I'm not touching that.
Yeah.
And it's going to come down to defense. Who has the better defense? Clearly, San Francisco has a better defense. As I said, I don't know Detroit's defense is going to be good enough to hang in this game. I honestly don't see this as a close score.
I kind of lean toward the same thing. This feels like there's a big gap for this late in the season for an NFC Championship game. This doesn't feel like two closely matched competitive teams. The Lions are ahead of schedule, in my opinion.
Oh, they're fantastic. Don't let me even get it twisted. People still say that?
No.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Yeah. I respect the heck out of the Lions, and they're the greatest story. And if I'm going with my heart, I want the Lions. I want the Lions to win the Super Bowl. I can't imagine what that city would be like if they won the Super Bowl. I just don't think they're there yet. I think they're getting there, and I think they're well on their way, to being a championship level team. And I guess really right now, you make the championship game, you're a championship level team.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure they're ready to get over that hump quite yet. We might be a year too early. Again, anything can happen in these games. Purdy comes out and has a Baltimore Ravens type game.
Yeah.
It can get ugly quick. I just don't think that they're going to put him in that position to try to have to make those types of throws. They're going to lean heavy on that run game, and they're just going to wear you down with that defense. That's what I think.
No, I would agree. I mean, it's going to take a near perfect game for Detroit to win. And they're capable of that, but it's going to take every bit of that.
Yep.
And, the Niners looked very, very different once Debo went out of that game. So if Debo does not play in this game, the question is, did they look so different just because they had game planned and built a lot around, and then it was like in mid-game there's no Debo and they couldn't adjust very well? Or is it just that he's just that important? We don't know that yet for sure. We have theories and ideas, but we don't know for sure. If he doesn't play in this game, I think that is definitely, and you mentioned it, that's an X factor for sure to say, okay, well, because Purdy didn't look very good. The offense itself didn't look very good. And it very much looked like, when you look at who's left in the playoffs, you would say, well, okay, all of these other offenses look like they're capable of scoring more points than San Francisco if that's how they play. If they play the way they did with Debo out of the game, then everybody could score more than them. So it's really going to come down to their defense. But again, you also have a week to prepare. If Debo's not going to be in there, I have to assume it's a well-coached team. I got to believe Kyle Shanahan's going to have some things dialed up. I think it could be competitive up until probably middle of the third quarter. I think the Niners will start to pull away late, but I do think it could be competitive still pretty deep into the game. That would be my opinion.
If Debo doesn't play, what's your thoughts? Does it change?
It changes, but it doesn't change completely. It changes in that I give Detroit a better chance, but the reality is, on paper, San Francisco is by far the more talented team comparative to Detroit. So, if on paper they're by far the more talented team, the only thing that could lose them the game would be coaching. But then if I look at the coaching staff of San Francisco and the success that they've had and how deep they are, I'm going, well, I don't see them blowing it. And that's not a knock on the Detroit coaching staff, because I think they're probably going to lose some guys to head coaching opportunities this offseason. There's a very good chance there with Aaron Glenn. And, I just think I'm not seeing that missing piece that Detroit can really fully take advantage of in this game. Debo being out will impact things, and it will improve their chances, but I still don't think it gets them where they need to be.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't see... Yeah. And they've had the luxury, and you can kind of say that, like, of not having Debo. Because remember, he didn't play the first few games of the year. So as weird as that is, they kind of know what it's like to not have Debo Samuel. So it's, it could be something that obviously they were prepared for.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle Shanahan... All he needs to do is win a Super Bowl, and he's going to be right up there as one of the top 3 coaches in the NFL. I mean, if you just look at what he's done and what he's taken this team to, I mean, he's always in it. He's always playing in a championship game. He's always playing minimally in the division round. I mean, it's just he needs this on that resume just to kind of vault himself up there in the discussion as the best coach in the NFL. And some people might say that he is. So.